The dazzling stage lights of Hollywood's golden era were never a protective shield for black female stars. They were a glittering trap. We look back at these powerhouse icons and see a forgiving spotlight, captivated by their toned physiques and fiery gazes. For decades, the public eagerly bought into the golden illusion of their sensual supremacy. But that very light was a silent predator. Behind the vintage posters and record-breaking hits lay an invisible punishment. The systemic blade of an industry that consumed them whole left these women grappling with raw agony, spirals of addiction, and chilling isolation. These are not merely tragic tales of faded beauty. They are the brutal, unfiltered stories of 13 magnificent women whose breathtaking allure was exploited to the absolute maximum, becoming their ultimate downfall. Let's peel back the velvet curtain and face the terrifying truth. 13. Joyce Bryant. The silent predator didn't wait in the dark alleyways of Hollywood. It lived within her very own mind, fed constantly by the hymns of her strict Seventh-day Adventist upbringing in San Francisco. Every time Joyce stepped under the dazzling stage lights, squeezed into mermaid dresses, so tight she physically had to be carried to the microphone, her spirit fractured a little more. She was an undeniable powerhouse with a staggering 4-octave range, raking in a massive $200,000 a year and standing as a bold performance icon in the 1950s. But this golden illusion demanded terrifying physical and psychological sacrifices. To maintain her signature shimmering silver hair, she endured toxic chemical dyes that left her scalp violently burning and her hair falling out in agonizing patches. As her performance schedule intensified, the raw agony in her throat became absolutely unbearable, leading managers to push doctors into spraying her vocal cords with cocaine, planting the insidious seeds for an invisible enemy of addiction. Furthermore, she constantly faced the systemic blade of the era. Despite breaking barriers at the Casino Royale and bravely challenging Jim Crow laws, while the KKK burned effigies outside, Hollywood's racial prejudices coldly slammed the door on her acting ambitions. Yet, the ultimate destroyer was her internal, deeply rooted terror. The fame's crushing pressure clashed violently with her religious conscience, creating an unfillable void of guilt and paranoia. She firmly believed her sensual stage presence was a direct ticket to damnation, a chilling speculation that haunted her sleepless nights. The woman audiences hungrily craved was rapidly wasting away under the crushing weight of her own mind. By November 1955, at the absolute zenith of her glory, the psychological ghost took complete control. She vanished from the nightclubs overnight, walking away from the immense wealth to enter Oakwood College in Alabama, completely denouncing her career as sinful sensuality. Though she later returned as a classical opera singer and vocal coach, the original blazing light of the Black Marilyn Monroe was forever extinguished, leaving her to pass away in quiet solitude at age 95. Her soul had effectively perished on the altar of stardom long before her body eventually gave out. Where one voice was choked by the toxicity of chemical paint and spiritual dread, another radiant smile was soon hollowed out from the inside by a completely different, yet equally unyielding physical betrayal. 12. Sheila Guise. Imagine standing at the absolute zenith of the forgiving spotlight, holding an Outer Circle Critics Award, earning an Emmy nomination, and having a day named in your honor in Detroit. Sheila Guise had achieved this rare pinnacle, her gentle beauty and alluring voice drawing breathless comparisons to the ultimate icons of the era. She was on the precipice of unimaginable greatness, having just secured a massive Broadway lead in Mile High. Yet, the higher the pedestal, the more devastating the sudden drop. Right at the shimmering crest of her golden illusion, a merciless foe violently struck. A severe stomach ulcer ruptured, leaving her comatose in her bedroom, discovered only by her terrified young daughter. Subsequent grueling surgeries left her wasting away, interrupting her career and causing the monumental role to slip through her weakened fingers. When she desperately tried returning, the industry's invisible walls of racial prejudices firmly locked her out, relegating the former star to minor, forgettable background parts. Her personal life painfully mirrored this descent. Her attempt at a picture-perfect family through an interracial marriage became vicious tabloid fodder, weaponized by magazines to manufacture a public disgrace. Later, her third marriage brought the raw agony of losing her 3-year-old son. By her final years, she was entirely swallowed by Alzheimer's disease, a silent predator erasing her brilliant past before her tragic death in 2013. When sudden illness and systemic bias effortlessly strip away everything you have bled for, what is the true value of a fleeting standing ovation? The physical collapse that abruptly silenced this gentle Broadway darling merely paved the way for an even more agonizing reality on the music charts, where another magnificent voice would find her own flesh serving as a lifelong prison. 11. Veretta Dillard. I still remember standing in the smoky, suffocating haze of a crowded Harlem club in the early 1950s, watching her slowly make her way to the microphone. She possessed a fiercely sensual upper body, radiating the aura of a true powerhouse, but her walk was a painful, halting limp, a cruel testament to the congenital bone disease that had chained her to white hospital beds since childhood. When she finally sang, the husky, blistering blues that ripped through the room didn't just entertain us. It bled the raw agony of a soul that had intimately known a silent predator her entire life. We, the audience, eagerly bought into the golden illusion of her triumphs when she won the Apollo Theater Talent Contest twice and dominated the R&B charts with the unforgettable hit Mercy, Mr. Percy. Yet, I also witnessed her sudden drop firsthand. When rock and roll violently shifted the musical landscape, the industry's invisible walls quickly boxed her out, tossing her aside as taste changed. She became the voice of grief, singing memorial tracks for fallen stars like Johnny Ace, wrapping the room in an unfillable void of sorrow that felt eerily like her own inevitable eulogy. By the end, her solo career was over, and she drifted into brutal poverty, using her fading voice for music therapy with chronically ill children. She was wasting away from cancer, ultimately dying in Brooklyn at age 60 as a forgotten blues genius. The spotlight that once illuminated the fierce fire in her tear-filled eyes finally flickered and died out, leaving nothing but a chillingly cold, empty microphone stand in the absolute dark. That agonizing descent from musical royalty to unacknowledged destitution echoes fiercely when a meticulously crafted television reign is violently shattered overnight by the sinister, suffocating grip of the underworld. 10. Barbara McNair. Look closely at the seemingly ordinary delivery receipt from October 17, 1972, at a New Jersey Playboy club. It was just a small scrap of paper containing a quick signature, yet it harbored an earth-shattering secret, a package containing 14 grams of heroin. For Barbara McNair, a trailblazing television queen who commanded her own national variety show and embodied the ultimate golden illusion of 1960s elegance, signing that paper triggered an immediate sudden drop. Though she was entirely clean and legally cleared months later, that tiny receipt transformed her into merciless tabloid fodder. The systemic blade of public disgrace severed her contracts, and Hollywood's invisible walls slammed shut forever. The forensic nightmare only deepened when we examined a much grimmer detail: the chilling crime scene in her Las Vegas home in December 1976. Her husband, Rick Manzi, was found dead in a dressing room, his semi-nude body punctured by mysterious needles in an unsolved underworld hit. Her glamorous marriage dissolved into a vortex of mafia interrogations and chilling speculation. A chain reaction of unimaginable grief followed as she rapidly lost her mother, mother-in-law, and father, plunging her into a paralyzing $458,000 bankruptcy. By the end, the beautiful voice that once effortlessly captivated millions was wasting away from throat cancer, silenced completely at age 73. The truth is absolute. A single stroke of a pen on a rig package was enough to erase a decade of unparalleled brilliance. This brutal courtroom and mafia reality shattered an American Idol, paving a harsh road that sharply contrasts with a fragile muse who conquered European cinema, only to discover that prestigious international gold could never buy her way out of an industry's narrow racial cages. 9. Marpessa Dawn. The entertainment industry is a ruthless machine that eagerly consumes what it can sell and relentlessly starves what it cannot easily categorize. Right from her breathtaking debut, Marpessa Dawn was treated as merely a pawn on a global chessboard. In 1959, she touched the absolute zenith of the golden illusion when her mesmerizing portrayal of Eurydice in Black Orpheus won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and an Academy Award. With a unique blend of American and Filipino heritage, her fragile, sensual beauty captivated millions, turning her into an instant worldwide sensation. However, that monumental peak immediately triggered the systemic blade of Hollywood's unyielding racial prejudices. The system looked at her undeniable talent and coldly shook its head. Her American accent didn't fit their narrow molds, and her look was deemed too exotic. She was denied the leading roles effortlessly handed to white actresses. Yet she also couldn't be boxed into the stereotypical maid roles traditionally reserved for black women at the time. The very triumph that should have guaranteed her a legendary career became an impenetrable invisible wall that violently locked her out of mainstream cinema. The sudden drop was devastating. Abandoned by her husband who left her for another woman, Marpessa found herself exiled in Europe, completely severed from America's film center. She was forced into grueling, low-paying theatrical tours across France and North Africa just to scrape by and feed her 5 children. The global icon was essentially wasting away in agonizing poverty, her immense potential suffocated by a merciless foe of systemic neglect. In a hauntingly poetic tragedy, she died of a heart attack in Paris at age 74, just 42 days after her beloved co-star Breno Mello passed away from the exact same cause. Her life is a chilling warning. The spotlight will exploit your uniqueness for profit, only to build the very grave that buries your legacy. This quiet, gradual starvation of a career across the Atlantic gives way to a much more immediate, visceral horror back home, revealing an environment where the deepest wounds are inflicted not by studio executives, but by the fists of romantic partners and a malignant mass growing silently inside the skull. 8. Tammy Terrell. On March 16, 1970, a once radiant 24-year-old girl took her final, labored breathing in a Philadelphia hospital bed, her weight having dangerously plummeted, her sight entirely gone, and her famous face rendered a fragile shadow by 8 agonizing brain surgeries. This was the devastating end of Tammy Terrell. The sudden drop truly began 3 years prior, on October 14, 1967, when she collapsed directly into the arms of Marvin Gaye during a performance in Virginia. It wasn't emotional overload. It was a malignant brain tumor, a merciless foe delivering an immediate, inescapable death sentence. Only by looking backward from this raw agony can we truly grasp the horrific irony of her golden illusion. Just months before her collapse, she was Motown's shining superstar, dominating radio stations nationwide with the explosive 1967 hit, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. She radiated a pure, sensual energy, offering the public a picture-perfect musical partnership. Yet long before the cancer destroyed her from within, her body was relentlessly ravaged from the outside. Starting at age 17 on tour with James Brown and later trapped in a toxic romance with David Ruffin, she endured terrifying domestic violence. Hammers, machetes, and motorcycle helmets became the brutal instruments of her hidden daily reality. The dazzling stage lights simply acted as a glamorous coat, hiding a severely battered soul desperately wasting away under fame's crushing pressure. Following her death, Marvin Gaye sank into a deep depression, leading to the creation of the album What's Going On, a profound sigh of grief for a beautiful life completely shattered. Flesh and earthly glory are ultimately just fleeting dust caught in the cruel wind of fate. Where a physical tumor forcefully extinguishes a soaring musical spirit, a vastly different kind of poison can be willingly ingested, transforming an undeniable prodigy's vocal cords into a lifelong diary of endless chemical despair. 7. Esther Phillips. 14. That was the tender age she scored her first #1 hit, instantly becoming an R&B prodigy and a rare icon of raw emotion in black music. 1954. The year the golden illusion of her success accelerated dangerously fast, bringing inescapable pressure that completely swallowed her youth. 0. the exact number of normal childhood days she experienced, living entirely amid backstage, tour buses, and adults. To survive the grueling mathematics of fame's crushing pressure, she turned to a silent predator: heroin. What initially appeared as a fake salvation to handle packed schedules quickly morphed into a daily, merciless foe. For 3 decades, her life plummeted into an exhausting loop of countless rehab stints and inevitable relapses. Her body drastically thinned, her eyes sank deeply, and she was visibly wasting away even while standing directly under the dazzling stage lights. Yet each time she returned to the microphone, her increasingly husky, rough voice poured out the raw agony of her sleepless nights. In 1972, she received a Grammy nod for Home Is Where the Hatred Is, not a mere performance, but a chillingly honest confession of the unfillable void and the addiction that haunted her. She touched the commercial peak again in 1975, but her body's internal decay was mathematically irreversible. 48. That was her final, devastating number. On August 7, 1984, she died in Los Angeles from total organ failure. Her liver and kidneys completely degenerated from years of relentless abuse. The brutal equation of early stardom demands a terrifying physical toll, extracting its payment until there is absolutely nothing left to give. This slow, chemical self-destruction born from industry exhaustion finds a chilling parallel in the boardroom, where another reigning musical queen dared to demand her freedom, only to discover that challenging the corporate machine would trigger an instantaneous, systemic erasure of her entire existence. 6. Mary Wells. The entire trajectory of a human life can sometimes be irrevocably shattered by a single, defiant signature. In 1964, Mary Wells was living the absolute peak of a golden illusion. With the explosive success of My Guy, she became Motown's very first superstar, a radiant powerhouse whose warm, sweet voice conquered mainstream America. But at age 21, she made one fateful choice. On January 1, 1965, she sued to break her contract, citing she had signed it as a minor. She won legally, but that single decision unleashed an invisible punishment that would ruthlessly hunt her to the grave. The sudden drop was immediate and terrifying. The industry's systemic blade swung down hard. Big labels grew cold, performance invites vanished, and an unspoken boycott completely severed her from the forgiving spotlight. The freedom she desperately sought transformed into an unfillable void. As her career withered behind invisible walls, the stress pushed her into a heavy 2-pack-a-day smoking habit. In 1990, the ultimate merciless foe arrived: a throat cancer diagnosis. The disease sadistically targeted her most precious asset, permanently silencing the voice that once defined a generation. The raw agony of endless surgeries drained her savings, leaving her facing eviction and wasting away in extreme poverty without health insurance. Though late charity from peers like Bruce Springsteen and Diana Ross provided temporary relief, the fatal ripple had already drowned her. She died in a Los Angeles cancer hospital at just 49, a tragic victim of her own courage. One bold choice to seek independence can swiftly become a fatal death sentence in a system built to own you. While this solo pioneer was crushed by the industry's external boycott, the very same corporate machine was busy executing an internal assassination, silently stripping a founding group member of her identity while she was still standing on the very stage she built. 5. Florence Ballard. I was the silver center stage microphone basking in the dazzling stage lights of the early 1960s, and I vividly remember the exact vibration of her unmatched power. When Florence Ballard wrapped her hands around my metallic stand, she didn't just sing. She unleashed a thick, resonant fire that literally built the foundation of Motown's golden illusion. She was an undeniable powerhouse, the sensual, full-figured soul who confidently gave the Supremes their legendary name. But I also felt the chilling, gradual withdrawal as the systemic blade of industry politics physically pushed her away from me. Starting in 1963, I watched helplessly as Berry Gordy's ruthless favoritism deliberately shifted the forgiving spotlight directly onto Diana Ross's slim, TV-friendly image. Florence was systematically silenced, her lead vocals coldly stripped away, leaving her to stand in the shadows and watch someone else absorb the applause. The fame's crushing pressure became an invisible punishment, driving her toward alcohol to numb the raw agony of deliberate erasure. On June 29, 1967, at the Flamingo Hotel, the ultimate sudden drop occurred. She was ruthlessly fired. The door slammed shut while she was still wearing her glittering performance outfit. I stood completely silent on stage as her life plunged into a terrifying, unfillable void. The magnificent woman who once breathed life into me was soon wasting away in a cramped Detroit apartment, losing a grueling lawsuit against Motown and relying on welfare to feed her 3 children. The devastating mental trauma and financial ruin severely taxed her heart. At just 32, she died from a fatal cardiac arrest, dying in extreme poverty. The cold metal of an industry will happily amplify your brilliance to build its billionaire empire, only to brutally unplug your cord the second you no longer fit their manufactured mold. This crushing weight of a musical conglomerate actively erasing its foundational voice bleeds directly into a cinematic nightmare, where a striking physique was aggressively commodified and permanently trapped by movie studios, prioritizing cheap thrills over artistic dignity. For Vonetta McGee, Hollywood is fundamentally a ruthless predator, a towering systemic machine that views black beauty not as art to be nurtured, but as a cheap, exploitable commodity. From the early 1970s, the systemic blade of the blaxploitation genre greedily consumed Vonetta McGee. She was a sharp, commanding icon of films like Blackula, Hammer, and Detroit 9000, projecting a golden illusion of absolute power, fierce independence, and sensual dominance. But the studio executives didn't care about her profound acting depth, nor did they give a second thought to her grueling, silent battle with Hodgkin's lymphoma, an invisible enemy she had been fighting in the shadows since she was just 17. They eagerly capitalized on her angular face and confident posture, yet deliberately trapped her in a grueling cycle of shallow scripts and rushed productions designed purely for fast, disposable cash. The invisible walls of deep-rooted racial prejudices ensured she was never genuinely groomed for mainstream A-list prestige. She was instead repeatedly utilized as a visually striking fixture in hyperviolent narratives, her true potential suffocated under fame's crushing pressure. She poured tremendous effort into elevating these flatly written roles, but her sudden drop was mathematically orchestrated by the industry from the very start. When the blaxploitation trend inevitably cooled after 1975, the system coldly discarded her without a second glance. The big doors slammed shut, leaving her to scrape by on sporadic television appearances while her fragile body, fundamentally damaged by years of accumulated medical trauma and brutal treatments, was silently wasting away. On July 9, 2010, she ultimately died completely alone in an empty Berkeley house following a fatal heart attack. The raw agony of spending a lifetime knowing you are worth infinitely more than the narrow, stereotypical scraps you are forcefully fed is the true, inescapable horror of the entertainment factory. While an internal disease paired with industry negligence quietly eroded one magnificent artist's spirit in absolute solitude, a vastly more visible, statuesque giant soon found her towering cinematic dominance violently overthrown by her own rapidly rebelling nervous system. 3. Tamara Dobson. In 1973, she didn't just break into Hollywood. She completely shattered its expectations, officially entering the Guinness Book of Records as the tallest leading actress in global film history. Standing at a staggering 6 feet 2 inches, she was the ultimate powerhouse and the unstoppable face of the era's golden illusion. As the iconic Cleopatra Jones, she was a monumental worldwide phenomenon, a fiercely independent, martial arts-wielding black heroine who effortlessly radiated an aura of supreme confidence and sensual dominance. But the very physical magnitude that effortlessly catapulted her to this unprecedented zenith soon became the site of her most agonizing sudden drop. As the blaxploitation genre aggressively faded by the late 1970s, the systemic blade of a rigid, unimaginative industry trapped her. Hollywood executives simply refused to cast this monumental woman outside of her highly specific, restrictive action mold. Yet the true invisible enemy wasn't the studio system. It was her own towering frame. In 2000, she was struck by a merciless foe, multiple sclerosis. The tragic irony is almost too cruel to comprehend. The magnificent agile body that once executed flawless on-screen combat with devastating precision was now violently betraying her. Every step slowed to an agonizing crawl, her legendary physical strength completely wasting away under the crushing weight of relentless neurological decay. From 2004 onward, the statuesque woman who once commanded the world's absolute awe was tragically confined to a Baltimore care facility, enduring the raw agony of total paralysis on a sterile hospital bed until her death from pneumonia complications in 2006 at age 59. When the ultimate symbol of supreme physical dominance is cruelly reduced to a motionless prisoner in her own skin, what is the true, lasting worth of a Guinness-certified legacy? Just as one breathtaking titan found herself tragically chained by her failing biology, another mesmerizing screen siren actively recognized the cinematic cage closing tightly around her, deliberately choosing to tear off the suffocating labels of exploitation before the industry could swallow her dignity entirely. 2. Brenda Sykes. I am the cold, glass eye of the 35mm Panavision camera that meticulously manufactured her golden illusion. I was the very first to lock onto her free-spirited, wildly seductive smile when she was discovered on a seemingly innocent television dating show in the late 1960s. Through my curved lens, Brenda Sykes was instantly transformed into an inescapable icon of unapologetic black sensuality, her stunning physique eagerly devoured by the booming 1970s blaxploitation era. But I also bear intimate witness to the insidious, invisible punishment I inflicted upon her. The director standing behind me didn't care about the profound emotional depth she desperately tried to convey. They forcibly pointed me solely at her skin, gliding endlessly over her curves in hits like Black Gun, Cleopatra Jones, and the highly controversial Mandingo. My unrelenting focus became the systemic blade that brutally reduced a brilliant, layered artist into a cheap, easily digestible commodity. I recorded the raw agony hiding just beneath her confident gaze, the agonizing realization that the more she achieved this picture-perfect fame, the more her actual humanity was actively wasting away inside a claustrophobic cinematic age. However, before I could completely execute her sudden drop, Brenda did the unthinkable. She stared directly into my glass eye and calmly walked away. By 1978, she actively chose to abandon the forgiving spotlight rather than permanently sacrifice her dignity to my suffocating frame. She sought refuge in a glamorous marriage to musician Gil Scott-Heron, eventually retreating into a fiercely guarded, low-key private life, intentionally letting her massive celebrity fade into absolute obscurity. I am left staring at an empty set, my mechanical gears gathering dust, forever haunted by the one breathtaking muse who bravely refused to let my superficial lens consume her soul. A quiet, dignified retreat from the flashing bulbs secures a peaceful oblivion, completely avoiding the catastrophic whiplash that occurs when history's most groundbreaking, pistol-toting secret agent is abruptly expelled from the very billion-dollar franchise she helped immortalize. 1. Gloria Hendry. The premiere of Live and Let Die in 1973 wasn't just a movie release. It was a cultural earthquake. Stepping onto the screen as Rosie Carver, Gloria Hendry shattered a monumental glass ceiling, emerging into the forgiving spotlight as the very first black Bond girl of the era. With her fiercely athletic physique, sharp gaze, and commanding presence, she was an undeniable powerhouse and a blazing icon, standing shoulder to shoulder with the most prestigious male hero in global cinema. This historic triumph felt like the absolute pinnacle of the golden illusion. Yet, the higher the cultural peak, the more devastating the sudden drop. Making history provided absolutely no protection against Hollywood's unyielding systemic blade. The very sensual, powerful look that originally secured her this groundbreaking role quickly mutated into a suffocating label. She found herself forcefully trapped behind the invisible walls of the blaxploitation genre, churning out consecutive action flicks like Black Belt Jones and Savage Sisters without any substantial artistic progression. When the genre inevitably collapsed in the late 1970s, the industry coldly abandoned her without a second thought. Furthermore, her historic milestone was never entirely pure. Deep-rooted racial prejudices ensured her romantic scenes were completely severed from South African theatrical releases due to apartheid laws. The invisible punishment followed her for decades, as mainstream casting directors refused to see her beyond the narrow, exotic action heroine trope. The woman who boldly made international cinema history was soon wasting away in minor television spots and fleeting 1990s B-movies. Her immense acting potential entirely swallowed by an unfillable void of industry neglect. The raw agony of Gloria Hendry's legacy is a chilling paradox. The exact role that immortalized her name simultaneously served as the merciless foe that choked her future career to death. The dazzling stage lights have finally burned out, leaving nothing but the chilling echoes of these forgotten powerhouses. They possessed the most captivating looks on screen, yet they were brutally discarded into an unfillable void. These 13 tragedies are not meant to merely stir pity. They are a devastating warning about the fatal price of a golden illusion. The entertainment machine will elevate you to goddess status, only to orchestrate your sudden drop without a fraction of hesitation. What do you think about the merciless fates of these iconic black female stars? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because the raw truth is always much darker than the glamorous posters you see through the camera lens.